like he belongs there.
No, for sure, for sure. Yeah, like he can definitely grow, and especially when his style matchups well against his opponent, because he can be very aggressive and such. The man we are talking about is, of course, in the bottom left-hand side, Wayne. Young Money.
Young Money. And his opponent spotting up at the top right, it is Spatz.
Spatz.
Ooh, Wayne going to be doing something a little bit spicy here on Crimson Court. He gets hatch blocked, so he says, I'm taking the high-yield gas base. And this is something that I didn't think we would talk about until our next series with Bly. But we are going to be seeing I mean, there's a lot of things you can potentially do off this. You know, mostly revolving around Ravager Queen pushes, but just getting a ton of gas early on can be really nice.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? Actually, I've tested this before, and maybe I'm crazy. And I tested it wrong or something like that. But I'm pretty sure you can get to link speed that is 100 gas mined faster if he had just sent the drone that he just made a gas in his main from to the natural base. Of course, there's a little bit more transfer time of the drones, but you could argue it's the same, you know, because you would put those drones in the gas. So yeah, call me crazy or test it yourselves, but I tested the timing wise. You could get link speed faster by saturating your purple first. I think the purple's insane.
That is so cool if true. I'll take your word for it because I have not tested something like that. The only thing I will say is that obviously is going to expose your drones on that base significantly against any quick adept timings. But the fact that you would then have the drones already transferred over to that base, so you're basically covering the transfer time by mining extra gas. It pays for itself. Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
oh, that's a cool concept.
The reason I bring this up and the reason I thought it was interesting is exactly because it pays for itself, right? Like disregarding the adept potential and whatnot, you're always like if you're doing the same kind of thing, only a little bit more delayed on the gas because you know you need time for the hatchery to actually finish. You time the gas so that it finishes with the hatchery, and the drones to arrive there even one at a time. You know. Then it's enough to speed up your speed, and then that's gotta be a net positive.
Adept. Okay, no, that's the probe. So the adept does take a fair amount of damage, but doesn't get any kills. Good defense so far from Wayne. We're going to see the adept shade, of course, being canceled. There will be a Twilight Council behind this. So the other thing about this base is, so it works both ways. In one sense, because it's so far out and because it's so far away from the third base, especially if you were going to take that vertical third that's protected by those minerals and rocks, it's going to make something like Resonating Glaives a lot more difficult to defend. But at the same time, it also makes the potential defense much stronger as well if you go for like a Roach Warren and that high yield gas. You can get a lot more roaches out and even Ravagers and then be able to Corrosive Bile down the War Prism. It's a really strong potential defense. We're not going to see that necessarily coming up here, but what we are going to see is we're going to see at least 5 gates, maybe even 6 gate glaives. So Spatz is thinking big money on this attack.
Yeah, let's see if he can convert it into big money as the Roach Warren now going down for Little Wayne. And we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Spatz, I like that he dropped the Robo right after too. Like, I feel like he can maybe get a transition going. The Roach Warren is not particularly well timed, is it? Can you get Roaches out in time for the first wave?
It's with how late it is, I don't think so. It is going to be a Dark Shrine behind it, so Spatz is going for it super hard. I think that first wave of Adepts is going to hit before the Roaches hit the field. But the main thing is that this is just going to be so chaotic and difficult to deal with. Wayne's creep spread, though, is going to do him a lot of favors for defending this. He's got a really nice path between... Oh, great scout. He saw that, right? He had to have seen that. Yeah, he saw that. Yeah, and he definitely clicked it, too.
Adepts take the long way, though.
Oh, did he click it? Because he's actually not building spores. He has a little bit of time before he needs to, but you never want to leave it till like the last second.
Yeah, especially now when you know you might be distracted by the attack incoming, as now the Shades are trying to go into the third. They were going into the natural, it got cancelled. Now the Adepts are going into the third, and only 4 can get picked up at a time, so he's got to be pretty careful here. Only saves 5 all day. Very successful defense for Wayne.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. We do have double spore up, and I wanted to echo that point. That was exactly what I was building to. Is when you're potentially distracted, you do not want to be in a situation where you miss the spore timing by 5 seconds because you tried to be perfectly optimal, and you kind of painted yourself into a bad situation. Spatz will see that there's spores everywhere. Ooh, but he is going to be able to get into the main. There's no spore in the main. Oh no, there is. He made a third. Oh, good job. Good job. Whoa. I saw that there was only 2 and I didn't look at the production tab. Okay. I like that Spatz checked for this, but Wayne doesn't get caught. Actually loses a DT. That's really good for Wayne now. Wayne is in an amazing position.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad for Spatz right now, as he is going to try to take his third. A lot of links on the other side. I mean, maybe if he can get enough DTs to snipe the spore in the main, he might be setting up for something like that. No, instead he's just going to split the 2 and try to kill as many drones as possible. So shift click will be necessary here. Looks like maybe 3 or 4 max.
Nice job right there with the drone pull, getting the instant surround. 5 drones is nice, but 2 DTs is not cheap, especially when you're already behind, which Spatz certainly is. And of course, Wayne is mining off of that high yield gas base, so you can technically add 3 drones to his count in terms of what his effective economy is. And of course, now that he's held off the aggression, he's going to be able to drone behind this, gets a cancel on the third base of Spatz. This is looking increasingly desperate right now for the Protoss player.
Yeah, I don't really see a great transition either. I guess it's just gonna come down to Immortal Adept at this point. Hope for no mute and whatnot, which will be true for the time being. But even the Ravagers, I mean, they output so much damage, a lot of links as well. This is way too much for Spatz to contest with, and he doesn't even have a third that he's attempting to take anymore.
Even losing the Immortal right there, wasn't able to get the hot pickup in the Prism. And now as the Overseer shows up, yeah, I was gonna say, we're gonna see GG in moments. And Wayne gets the job done. We'll go up 1-0. Well done from him.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely clean. Tough if you're Spatz. Nothing really went your way. And I mean, that Adept attack is also hitting a little bit later than most Adept attacks do, right? Even though there is the Dark Shrine follow-up and whatnot, that's still like, you know, like 30 seconds later than like a 420 or a 430 Adept timing, right? Which are a little bit more common.
Yeah, that's when you traditionally hit with the 4-gate glaives. But of course, like you say, he added on the 5th gate, went for the DT Shrine, and it felt like there was a chance for that to get something done, but I don't know. Wayne just played so lockdown on the defense, and there's a reason we don't see resonating glaive attacks very often anymore. It feels like Zergs have gotten really good at defending them, and I feel like specifically Wayne is extremely good relative to where he is kind of on the power rankings or on the totem pole. He's really good at dealing with something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Wayne is kind of like an expert in the early mid-game stuff, and with aggression in general, I think he's very good with it and against it. And yeah, I mean, that was clean. That's sad because there wasn't really any glimmer of hope. Like we saw Aquaron against Showtime, like, you know, that was a lot closer. Spatz versus Wayne is looking like a bigger gap, at least off of game 1.
Yes, hopefully we will have something different in game 2, because I like when the games are close. I like when they're exciting and entertaining. Yeah. Wayne, though, yeah, like you said, he looked really strong. And to be fair, he isn't a player that you necessarily expect to run into with a 1-2 scoreline after 3 rounds of the, of the Swiss stage. But we're here, and you know, Spatz, he needs to beat the guy in front of him if he wants to show up and have a chance to make it to the playoffs. For now, though, we are getting into game number 2, spawning up at the top left with an Extractor Trick 15 hatch. It is going to be Starlight Twinkles Wayne.
And the bottom right-hand side, his opponent, who they say they're going to be Little Wayne, is this guy, Spatz.
And he did go for that that probe timing to try and get the block. So
nice.
We talked about it in the previous series. I mean, this is a nice situation for the Zerg when you can get that hatch down in response to this block. It feels good.
Yeah, because you get your hatcher, you lose a little bit of eco, but your opponent loses a bunch of eco in the process as well. So it's a net positive for sure, I think. And yeah, I like that Wayne went for it. We were talking about Spatz like as an up and comer of sorts, and yeah, we were mentioning how like he's been around for a while, right? But it's funny, I think, how in StarCraft, being around for a few years still puts you in the category of an up and comer, because because so many of these players have well that, but also if you look at the natural flow actually of things, like for example this season we have a couple of players that enter this regionals, right? That haven't been able to participate in the regionals before, and the expectation is always that those players will go 0 and 3, right? And before it would have been 0 and 6 in the kind of groups that they were placed into. Yeah. And it always turns out to be the case because they just breached into that. They've still been playing StarCraft for 5 years to get there, right? Because their opponents have been playing for just as long or longer. But once you get there, you still got to put in the grind, and you still usually, are climbing to where you're gonna get kind of destroyed for a little while. And I feel like Spatz is kind of like still in that phase where he was like the player that was qualifying just a couple years ago, starting to qualify, and now is when we should expect him to, not get 3-0'd, but maybe like take a win or two, which is very much possible for him. And one of these days he'll breach, make it into playoffs, and then we start talking a little bit more about him.
Yeah, I still think he's got a ways to go in order to make it into those playoffs, because I do think, especially with the way he kind of approaches the game, I don't think of him as like a late game player, like a Showtime or a Cyril, or like someone who like really focused on developing those parts
Spirit,
of the gameplay.
Probably.
Spirit, that's a great one. Yeah. I really think of him as a player that tries to win it with a lot of 2-base, 3-base plays. Obviously, we did see that eventually he tried to take a 3rd base, but he...
I see.
Yeah, it didn't really get
the
job done.
So you think he's peaking?
I think he needs to retool if he wants to try and continue to advance. But we do see a nice shade forward.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I pick it up. It makes sense, right? Because if that has been his playstyle for the longest time and it's not succeeding, then it's unlikely to do much more for him at this stage. But 3 drones have already gone down to this adept, so he's certainly showing some prowess in the early game here.
Yeah, this is a pretty great
very
start.
Nice. I mean, that was perfect movement to save both adepts. Perfect movement.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Splits them up, knowing that, of course, that one lower HP was the prime target. And this is a really nice start, actually, for Spatz. He's going to find 2 more drones with the Oracle. That's fantastic. 5 drones going down. Did get a lot of damage in on that Oracle, so it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but this is a damn good start against Wayne. Look at the supplies. It's already a 10 supply lead. I know that it's the early game, but like, that's a real supply lead.
He's locked in. Yeah, he's hearing us. He's like, actually, I can do more with this style. I will show you guys. I mean, that was perfect. I don't use the word perfect very often. That was perfect movement on the adepts. Like to save both of them towards the tail end of that save, where they both survive on red. Like that was really nice.
Oh.
Yo, hello, Oracle.
That's
perfect
painful.
move was to press the Oracle beam a little faster there.
And then he still turns it on, but only gets like 1 of those lanes or 2 of those lanes. That's painful, because then you spend the energy and you didn't keep the stalker alive. You didn't get the value there.
The punish.
Exactly, the punish. That is painful. That's kind of funny. Look at the Spore Crawler right dead center of that logo. That is kind of neat to see.
But this is a punish, though, on the position of one of those queens, and the other one actually not turning to run fast enough either. So 2 of them will fall. Oracle also turning around for 1 final drone. Very well done there by Spatz.
Look at that, Mapu going back after the action finishes. Thank you, Mapu, for showing that one.
German pride from Mapu.
This is an amazing early game for Spatz. Even with that Stalker going down, killing those couple of queens is really nice. And obviously, he's kept the 3 Oracles alive. This is... I mean, I'm talking about he needs to retool a little bit. Like, maybe it's just a matter of just not playing some of those builds anymore. Like, be a little more confident in your macro game. as we are going to be seeing a very quick second robo and robotics play. So this is highly likely to be a Colossus play. Double Adept will get into the natural. Going to be able to grab another couple of drones.
Make it 3. We take those.
Yeah, considering the start, this is good damage.
Very good. I mean, yeah, 92 supply to 85. Workers still ahead and in favor of Spatz. He is taking up 2. I mean, yeah, Wayne's only just now in the process of finishing his own lair, so nothing to write home about. Spatz really in a phenomenal position, I think, so far.
Yeah, and obviously Wayne has caught up in the drone count, but it comes at the cost of so many other things. It comes at the cost of, you know, faster layer, of strong tech. He is going to be starting up a Spire and the Roach Warren, but this is a really strong position. If Spatz goes for like a big +2 Colossus timing with like 3 or 4 Colossus, maybe warps in a few sentries, could be really difficult for Wayne to deal with, especially as the damage continues to ramp up. Another 4 drones go down. This has been a fantastic game from Spatz.
Yeah, very, very clean. Everything's going his way, so he's just kind of snowballing off of it, right? Like sometimes you get your flow, and then your opponent's kind of discombobulated, so they're kind of like trying to, you know, get back on their own footing. And for you, it's just, you know, you're just in that state of flow where everything is going, you're dictating the pace time and time again. And yeah, for Wayne, he needs to do something to offset that, maybe get a little bit of a Ling Rambai, a counterattack going, something to discombobulate Spatz, who is otherwise just kind of running away with this game, like little by little.
Yeah. Oh, he's got to be a little bit careful with these Stalkers. I was going to say, I'd like to see a recall, because the Oracles were not there to cover. It looks like Wayne didn't realize maybe that the Oracles weren't there, so he was actually going to give it up, but I still think the recall is the responsible choice. Now, the one thing that Wayne has going for him is that this Spire went unscouted, but I actually think his best chance against what I think is going to be a huge commitment to 3-base Colossus Stalker, I think his best chance might have just been to go pure Mutiling and just hope to force a base trade. I think hedging his bets and getting even a few roaches is going to make that really difficult for him to do. But I do still think that what he's setting up for is his best chance.
Yeah, he is looking to consolidate. I think he's Muta on the right side of the map here. Has Spatz. I mean, he is already out on the map, so these Muta are going to start doing damage. Wayne setting up for... Yeah, if you're Spatz, you do not want to turn around, right? But you also got to find a way to deal with the Muta. That's going to be tough. So maybe consolidating defenses. It looks like he wants to try for the natural. I might have even gone for the main, and he can't stop Spatz. You can't chase those drones. You have no time to go for safe plays. You got to keep walking forward and towards your opponent's base. This is effectively a base trade. It is probably Wayne's best opportunity, but it's gonna be tough for either player. Spatz going back.
No, that is not the play. And because he used the recall, he's walking home. No, this is not it. This is not it at all.
Stop it.
Jeez.
You guys watching at home, you don't want to do this. I mean, the third is with the third live? No, right? No, yeah, it did.
It did, but I mean, he's losing so many probes. He's gonna clean up the whole ground army. That is something, but I feel like Wayne can do exactly what he's setting up for right now, which is when the move out comes again, he can just counterattack once more. And Wayne, he did everything very well there. He canceled the units at the third. Oh, that's a little bit of an oopsie. But even now, Spatz's army is so much stronger, but this is such an ugly position for Wayne, for Spatz to try and play through.
Well, I was talking about Wayne needs to do something to discombobulate Spatz a little bit, but I mean, he's certainly discombobulated. Those Colossus don't know what is north anymore. They don't know where to go. They keep going back and forth. These Stalkers certainly have no command that's good for them. They're gonna hide in the probe, so they're only gonna die there harder. Zealots and Colossus, I wish this had happened earlier, maybe, as the Stalkers try to go back to defend against the Muta, but they can't. And what a sad game. I mean, he really fell apart there, my boy Spatz.
He sure did, and I want to give a lot of credit to Wayne for that one, because he recognized his best chance in that game was to do